My mum was in the circus. My mum couldn't read and write. When I was about 3 or 4 years old, my mum left the circus to come to London, and she was homeless. I come from very poor family in like council estates in London, where there's a lot of drug addiction, a lot of alcoholism. I managed to escape that by falling into fitness. I started working in a gym for free when I was 16 years old for a couple of years.
I know that you lost your mom at the age of 20.
Yeah, early 20s. I can't remember exactly when.
Let's say you had the opportunity to have another meal with her, right? What is one thing you'd be dying to say to her?
I don't know. Like, maybe am I making her proud? I feel like I had so much like love from her and acceptance and belief that I could do anything. And my mum gave everything for me.
First half of this year was a really tough time for you. You were burnt out, you were overworking yourself. One of the lessons that you learned from this phase was happiness is a necessity of success, not a luxury. It is your engine to keep going. Talk me through that.
Every minute of every day was productive. I wasn't on social media, browsing. I wasn't watching TV. I wasn't playing games. I was just working. It got to a point where I felt really, really down, and I started having panic attacks, and then my business started to really suffer. For me, it's like, it's not an option because no one else in my family is going to do it. Like, everybody else is just stuck. I'm like the only one that managed to like creep out through the gap. So it kind of all falls on me. Everybody else is still stuck in that old cycle. Made me cry.
Okay.
So, hey guys, welcome to the 6th episode of Leaders Unlocked. Today I'm joined by Nando. So Nando is a coach of mine, but also more so he's a really close friend of mine. Nando, it's truly an honor to have you on Leaders Unlocked. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
So
yeah, thank you for having me.
For those who are listening, how would you introduce yourself and the work that you do?
Yeah, okay, good question. So I'll just go a little bit about my background. I come from very poor family in like council estates in London, where there's a lot of drug addiction, a lot of alcoholism. I managed to escape that by falling into fitness. I started working in a gym for free when I was 16 years old for a couple of years, became a gym instructor, become a personal trainer, even worked in Dubai as a personal trainer for a while, but came back to London because I was making more money here. Then I became a gym manager or assistant gym manager. Then I became my dream was to become a manager of a central London gym. I achieved that in 2 central London gyms. And then I decided to leave that to start my own fitness business, which I've been running for like slightly over 3 years, because you were one of my kind of first clients. I would say that business is doing really well, to the point where it's kind of like I get a bit overwhelmed with all of the work that I've been doing. I'm now at the point where I probably need to bring on like a second coach to come and help me. I'm still training people in person. So at the moment I'm working like ridiculous amounts of hours. So yeah, business going well. I've escaped kind of this poor mindset and poor background, and been lucky enough to find something I really love and get really rewarded for it.
Tell me more about that. So you mentioned you were able to escape that poor mindset and that tough upbringing. So I want to go deeper into that. What your childhood was like, what the struggles looked like.
It's hard to say, because like, no matter what your upbringing, I think everything for you seems normal. It's probably only later on, when you start maybe doing therapy or talking to your friends on a more deeper level, that you understand some of the things that you went through weren't normal. So for me, I had like a kind of like a violent stepdad, but like, I don't really blame him. I think he was just bullied a lot when he was younger. My mum was amazing, working lots of hours, but she had her own problems as well. A lot of my family, like I said, heavily involved in like drugs. So like, we've got some people that used to deal drugs, a lot of people that have gone to prison, some family that are like heroin addicts, some family that are crack addicts, a lot of alcoholics. I would say probably like most people have some kind of addiction issue in my family. And for me, growing up, that looked completely normal. And it wasn't until kind of I got up and grew up, and luckily I went to work in that gym, which was quite a very nice gym with a lot of people that were very successful, very well educated. I learned that isn't normal. but yeah, like I said, I don't know what the struggle was. I think that, to be honest, it made me who I am. And I feel like
Mm,
even though I was in that bit of a weird situation or different situation to other people, I still think I experienced a lot of love and a lot of acceptance from my family, which I think is an amazing thing as well. So with my family, I feel like I could be homeless, or I feel like I could ruin my life, and they would still openly accept me with open arms and just love me no matter what, which I think is very important. But
mm.
there is definitely kind of like addiction issues, low self-esteem issues, and a lot of people living without purpose, clarity, and that kind of fuels their need for escapism.
It was almost normative within your family that everyone had some form of negative coping mechanism. So whether it's alcoholism, or drugs, etc. Did you ever fall into those bad habits?
Yeah, I would say when I was 15, maybe,
Mm.
I started going to raves, and I would
Oh
help
wow.
out running the raves. I would actually sell
Okay.
nitrous oxide balloons. So I would
Oh my
go
god, at
laughing at
15.
yeah. So at 15 years old, I
Crazy.
used to go to like warehouse raves. I was like too young to be there, but I would stand on this stand and just sell balloons all night. And yeah, and then eventually just being around in that atmosphere, I started trying drugs, taking drugs. Um, but after a little while of doing that, I noticed I suffered a lot with depression, and
Mm.
I had to really explore why I was feeling like really down.
At that point in time, did you know that you were experiencing depression, or was it later on in your life that reflecting on it, you were like, okay, actually, I pretty sure I had some form of
I think at
depression.
that point of time, I didn't know it was depression or anything like that. I just know I didn't feel good. Like I would
Mm.
go out and party, and like even if you're taking, let's say, class A drugs, you should be feeling amazing. I wasn't, and I would sit there and
Oh.
self-reflect a lot. I remember going to this
Mm.
warehouse full of thousands of people, and I would just be sitting on the corner thinking about life and just being like really deep thought. And I come to the conclusion that this wasn't my path. And I was looking at the people around me, because I was very young at this point of time. And I would like people like 10, 15, 20 years older than me at these parties. And I was like, I don't really want to be these people. But if I keep hanging around in this environment, I'm going to eventually become one of these people. And I just noticed a lot of people were not very healthy, hadn't made any money, and they just seemed to
Mm.
be living for the weekend. So they would,
Mm.
maybe if they were working a job, they probably hated it, and then on the weekend they just needed to go and escape and party. And there'll be a lot of people, like a lot of my family, would be partying for 2 days time. Like you go out on Friday night and you don't come back until Sunday evening or something like that.
Mm.
So there was kind of, yeah, massive amounts of partying, and I was like, this isn't really me. And there was a period of time where I was, well, actually throughout the whole time, because I started working at the gym quite a young age, I would go out and party, and then I would come home at like 7 a.m. I would shower and I would go straight to work to start my shift. So throughout that whole time, even though when I was kind of in the period of like experimenting, so to say, I was still had strong work ethic, and I made a promise to my mum that I would always turn up to work, because if I was hungover or whatever, it's my own fault, and I needed to learn to deal with the consequences rather than just being
Mm.
lazy and so
Did you have a good relationship with your mom, Nando, growing up?
on. It's a bit of a weird one, because I feel like I had so much like love from her, and self and acceptance and belief that
Mm.
I could do anything. Um,
Mm.
and my mum like gave everything for me. So my mum
Mm.
was in the circus. My mum couldn't read and write.
Yeah.
When I was about 3 or 4 years old, my mum left the circus to come to
Mm.
London, and she was homeless, and like
Mm.
eventually got like some council property, eventually like started studying, learned how to read and write. She then learned how to do hairdressing, and eventually opened up her own hairdressing salon after working for many, many years. And I feel like she
Mm.
sacrificed everything to give me like a good upbringing, which I'm
Mm.
super grateful for. I feel like when I was in my younger years, maybe I didn't connect enough, because I felt like she didn't really know like what I was going through. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
you're stupid, leave me alone. And I remember like being like a bit rebellious, so to speak. But then as
Mm.
I grew older, I think we started to connect a lot deeper. And I would have like really honest conversations. Like when I started experimenting with drugs, I told my mum, and my mum would advise me. And like she told me, like, look, this may be a phase that you're going through, and so on. And Like, here's the consequences, here's what you're going to feel like, what might feel good, here's what's going to be bad, and so on. So I feel like she imparted a lot of wisdom on me. There's also some kind of element, because I had a bit of a kind of like a weird relationship with my stepdad. I think part of me was like really angry about that. But she was out working a lot of the time, because she was basically trying to like make us survive, because we were like from quite a poor background. So part of me is angry at that, but then at the same time, maybe it's because I didn't speak up about it and she didn't really know. And I think when I got to a certain age, I had like a massive fight with my stepdad, and I think that's when it kind of all came out, that like there was like a lot of violence and that kind of stuff. And
What
then
triggered the fight?
I think first of all, it was just many, many years of being like fucking, sorry for swearing, many years of being beaten
Bro,
up.
go for it, bro. It doesn't matter. Like, it's an
Cool.
open podcast, bro.
Yeah, many years of like beaten up, but like it's weird. It's like, I wouldn't say I was just beaten up. Like it was just like very extreme discipline. Like I could get in trouble very easily, but at the same time, I was very rebellious. So, for example, I remember one period of time, like from when I would come home from school, I would like do my washing, I would fold my clothes, I'd put them in my drawer, and I remember one time like bringing my clothes upstairs, and I dropped a pair of socks on the floor, and then like it just turned into a massive argument, and I'd be beaten up because of that. So I think I just had a lot of deep anger inside of me, and I started training from a young age to get stronger than my stepdad, and
When
I
do
started
when do you
lifting
start
weights,
training?
maybe about 14, 15, something like that. I think 15 years old. It was when the first time I like put set dumbbells, started training at home.
How did you know that existed? Like, okay, I could go to the gym, I could lift weights. Like, did you have a friend around you or a relative?
So yeah, like I had an amazing step family in Spain, and I used to go and spend like 6 to 8 weeks with them every summer. And my cousin, so to speak, or my step cousin, he was a football player, and as part of his football, he had to go to the gym. And so they took me along to the gym once, and then like as soon as I started like lifting weights and noticing I was getting stronger, I was like hooked within like my
Oh,
first
wow.
session. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I remember I had dial-up internet. I would come home in between the sessions, and I would use oh, can I go on the internet for an hour? And I would like use the internet to go and research like natural bodybuilding. I'd write everything down on paper, and then I'd go to the gym the next day and then practice all of that stuff. So like straight away, I just became hooked on like training. But then there was also like a deeper kind of thing. Well, okay, my stepdad is like really strong, so maybe I need to start like getting stronger, because I was already doing a lot of karate, and then I went into kickboxing. So I had a lot of martial arts training growing up. But I was just like, okay, I need to get stronger. He's just like can overpower me. And yeah, like eventually I did get strong enough. I think we had this massive fight maybe when I was like 17 years old or something. By that point, I started getting pretty strong. Yeah, had a massive fight, and that's when everything kind of came out of my mum, and like I was a bit angry that she had kind of allowed us to like have like this kind of like violence in our house, but at the same time, like part of me kind of accepts that she might not have known.
What do you mean that she might not have known? Like, the three of you lived under the same roof, right?
Yeah, we lived under the same roof, but I would say that my mum was working most of the time. So my mum would like wake me up in the morning for school, and then she would leave and like by the house by 8 a.m. and she would normally come home at like 7 p.m., 9 p.m., something like that. So, and I would see my mum in the evening for like an hour or so. And so I spent most of my time with my stepdad. Like when I come home from school, he'd be the one that was there. He was kind of like the roles were kind of reversed in like a normal kind of masculine, feminine way. He was kind of the one cooking, cleaning, doing the housework and so on. And my mum was the one that was kind of providing money, and she was kind
Oh,
of like
wow.
working two jobs. So like the same job, more similar to me. Like she'd work for a hairdressing salon during the day, and then in the evening afterwards, she'd probably do some private clients. So she would just work in a lot of hours, and then on her day off, she would do some more private clients. So she'd work maybe 6 days a week at the salon, and then on the seventh day, she would just be doing private clients. So she was just extremely busy, which I felt like I had expressed it, but I can't say that I remember at any point having like a really deep conversation with my mum about what was going on, and I just wanted to handle it my own way. And I think that's why I started weight training quite a lot, making sure my kickboxing training was going really well, and so on.
So, I mean, I know that, you lost your mom at the age of
Like maybe
21, 20.
Yeah, early 20s. I can't remember exactly when.
Let's say you had the opportunity to have another meal with her, right? What is one thing you'd be dying to say to her?
Probably going to end up making me cry over questions like this. Um, I don't know. Like maybe, am I making her proud? I think would be a question I'd want to ask.
Mm,
So I feel like she instilled a lot of values into me and
mm,
taught me a lot of like good lessons and wisdom to like work hard, use my brain, and to be kind to other people. And I feel like I'm trying my best to live my life using those values. And
mm.
probably I would also apologize for my rebellious phase and tell her that a lot of the wisdom she taught me from a young age was very true and very correct.
I mean, I know it's hard. It's hard to sort of hypothetically assume what she would say, but do you think she'd be proud of you?
I believe so. Like I like it's because it's like one of the questions I ask myself every single day. It's like,
Mm,
what have I done today or yesterday to make myself proud? And I live by those values and I reflect on it every single day. And I feel like I am kind of like a copy of my mum in a way. Like
mm,
I downloaded a lot of her mindset, the good and the bad. And like
mm.
through my own framework, I would say that, yeah, every day I'm making myself proud because I live with a lot of clarity and intention and purpose. And like, because I reflect on it quite a lot, I think so. Like, I feel like, yeah, like, to be honest, I don't even think I could do any more than I'm currently doing. If anything, sometimes I'm just overdoing it.
You know, a lot of people, a lot of high achievers performing at the highest level in any game, whether it's sports, whether it's corporate, whether it's business. Uh, there's always this part of the reason why they keep achieving those things is because there's this feeling of being not enough, right? I think
100%.
even Djokovic, right? Recently, he featured on a podcast with Jay Shetty, and bro, his story was amazing. I think at the age of 12, he realized that success wasn't an option for him. It was a necessity. It was the only way out.
Yeah.
And he came from a war-torn country, right? Serbia. At that
Yeah.
point in time, I think they had to go because they couldn't go to the bank. The dad had to go to like these loan sharks to borrow money because he had an opportunity to go to the US at the age of 15 or something. And I think they usually charge people 15% interest, which is extremely high, but they
Yeah.
charged him 25% because they knew how desperately they
Definitely.
needed the money. And I think they had like three siblings or something. I can't remember, but he was the oldest, and yeah, he just at a young age of 12, he had put that burden on his shoulders, and this up for debate. But I would say Djokovic is the GOAT, right? You know, most number of Grand Slams won. He's won the Olympic gold medal. But even he said during the podcast that sometimes he still feels like it's not enough.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would say, like, that would say that's a different question to do I make my mum proud, and do I feel enough? Like, I don't at all. Like, I try my best every day to make my mum proud, and I always feel like I've got a higher potential. Like, I always feel like there's
Mm,
so much more that I can achieve.
mm,
And yeah, from like a young age, like I said, with my family, from that kind of background, I feel like it's my duty to be able to follow my passion, lead by example, grow a really good business to the point where I can be financially free and actually have some capital to maybe go back to my family and say, hey, look, if you want to start your own business, you want to follow your dreams, I'm going to help you do it. I've got the time and I've got the resources. Let's make it happen. And I think I can, yeah, for me, it's like, it's not an option because no one else is in my family is going to do it. Like everybody else is just stuck. I'm like the only one that managed to like creep out through the gap. So it kind of all falls on me. Everybody else is still stuck in that old cycle. So I feel like it's my duty to make the most of this like gift of breaking the cycle and somehow come back and help them break it as well.
I think that's amazing, man. So, I mean, within the context of your family, you're clearly an anomaly, right? In terms of what you've gone on to achieve, even if you might not give yourself credit for that. But when you meet up with your relatives, when you have these family gatherings, do you feel like you're treated differently?
You know, like
Okay.
honestly, I feel like with my family, the best thing that I've ever looking back, for the best thing ever is just they don't care. Like if I am hyper successful, I earn loads of money, um, they don't care. If I lost my job and I lost everything, they don't care. It's just like you come, you turn up, you are who you are. They don't care, which is absolutely amazing. Obviously, they're super proud of me and they talk about me a lot, but it's just like I'm just another member of the family when I come along. It's very beautiful, and it's actually whenever I'm really run down or burned out, I always turn to my family because no matter what I'm going through, they don't care, which is to me, it's just very beautiful. It's just being like accepted for yourself rather than your achievements, which I think a lot of leaders or high achievers get kind of locked into.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, we are not our achievements, our accolades, how much money we have in the bank account. At the end of the day, I think there's this question posed in one podcast. If you had to introduce yourself, but you couldn't mention what your hobbies were, what your job was, how much money you had in the bank account, who you're married to, who your friends are, what your skin color was, where you're from, like how would you introduce yourself, right? If you removed all these markers that people would tend to bring up when introducing yourself, nowadays at parties, like the first thing people ask is like, oh, what do you do for work? It's
Yeah,
like there comes an age where these are the questions people talk about. And coming from London as well, living in London, bro, it felt like there were times it might have just been in my head, but if you weren't in a certain field, you might be perceived differently. For example, if you a lot of people were in London are in finance consulting. Like if you weren't in those roles, if maybe you're starting out your own thing, or if you're doing content, or you people might perceive you differently. They might not spend as much time talking to you in the party. They might as well, go and talk to someone else.
yeah,
And I
yeah. Like
think yeah, go on,
I don't know. I've got a kind of different opinion on that. So
go for it.
when I was younger, I love fitness so much that like I just
Mm,
through and through, like I'm so passionate and like so grateful that I'm in the fitness industry. But I remember my best friend, we used to go out together and he used to make me go, okay, you can't talk about you being a trainer. You can't talk about fitness. He's like, every time we go out, all you end up doing is writing people programs and like teaching them how to train and stuff. Like just stop. Just talk
mm,
about anything but fitness. So I had to
mm,
kind of learn to go out and just kind of like talk about stuff. And I think the reason there is obviously like an element to everybody's trying to like know who's got high worth and who they can
mm,
build connections with, which will be good for them in
mm,
the long term and blah blah blah.
mm,
But then also sometimes it's just like people are just doing small talk, like they don't really
mm,
know what to say. So the
mm,
easiest thing is, what do you do for a living? Like I
mm,
think there's better questions we could ask. Like, what do you do when you're not
mm,
working? Like, why did you go to university to study that subject? Really, I like
mm,
to ask like real deep questions, and like I find that
mm,
no matter who I talk to, I always have like a great conversation. Like most of my clients, like when I'm training them, half of them I don't even know what they do for a living, but I know everything else about them. So I think like
mm,
it, I think sometimes it is just small talk, and there is sometimes you're going to be judged like for what you do, and but to be honest, personally, I don't really hang around with people that really care about what I do for a living. If someone's going to judge me for being a trainer and so on, like I don't care. Like I could like there's a lot of people in finance that I could easily be making more money than as well. So I
mm,
don't think that that's like a great system to base how you value someone. I think
mm,
more like someone's manners, someone that looks you in the eyes and treats you with respect, even though you might be like a street cleaner. That's the person I'll kind of talk to. If that
mm,
person doesn't know what I do, but they show me like a
mm,
very high level of respect and
mm,
courtesy, even though they don't know that I could be earning a lot of money, a very little bit of money, I could be like a janitor or whatever, and they're still showing me like a lot of respect and taking the time to listen to me. Those are the people that I
mm,
will sit down and have like really deep conversations with. Like I remember
mm,
my best friend, I met him, and he was like telling me about his net worth and like how he was on a yacht and some other stuff. And I just got bored and I walked off. I found it so boring. And then he kept
really,
coming up to me and talking to me about like money and finances. And he's done really well. Like he's made several millions. And he's even like sends me like screenshots of his bank account. And I was like, bro, I don't care. I could just stop. Like, it just have a conversation to me about something that you done yesterday. Like, I really don't care about how much money you've got. And like, I think Nat for him was like extremely refreshing because I think a lot of people he's always hanged
mm,
around with want to hang around with him because he's got a lot of money and probably he's got into that pattern of trying to prove himself. So he comes in with the nice car. he comes in with like a nice Rolex or an AP on his wrist. But I'm like, bro, I don't care. I remember we went out to like South London once, and it's a little bit dangerous. And I was like, look, take your bloody watch off. We're not going out when you're wearing that. We're just going to end up being a target. We're going to get into problems. I know it makes you feel confident, but let's not bring this kind of stuff. Like, and I think he's an amazing person. He just needs to learn how to have a bit more confidence without the kind of accolades. And I think that's what a lot of people do, is they kind of like, oh, I've got this title, this job, I earn this much money, because it makes them feel good about themselves, because it's not like real genuine confidence. Like if you just kind of like accept yourself for who you are, then maybe you can walk into a conversation without telling people what your job is and trying to prove your self-worth to others.
I remember I read this book, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, right? And there's this quote. He says, "Rich whispers, wealth screams." So there's a difference between the two. You know, this separate topic, but to quickly summarize, wealth is essentially, if you were to, let's say you were locked in a corporate job, if you were to leave your job today, with the amount of passive income you have coming in monthly, how long would you be able to sustain your current lifestyle for without having to compromise it, right? Whereas rich is, you know, like you said, that nice car you buy to is more like a facade. I'm sure there's some people who can buy it cash and still have a lot of money to spare. There are a lot of people, we just see the car, but they've probably taken a loan that has made them, you know, tied down to this liability every month. And I think it's an interesting concept as well that I've been thinking about a lot recently, is how much of the things people buy is tied to social acceptance, and how much is because of self-fulfillment. Even myself, I've asked myself this, like whenever I buy things like let's say like a new pair of shorts for the gym, right? Nowadays everyone's wearing Lululemon, right?
Yeah.
I don't have it myself, but I see a lot of people in my gym wearing it, right? And sometimes I can't lie, but I have the temptation. I would love a pair as well, right? But then I question myself: am I buying it so that people can see that I have Lululemon shorts,
Yeah.
or do I think the quality is actually justified?
No, I
The
think
price,
it comes.
yeah.
I think what we do is we base it on emotion. So we probably base our buying decision based on our emotion. Like I want to feel socially accepted. I want people to come up to me and give me compliments and blah blah blah. Or I want to be part of a community. And then afterwards we reverse rationalize it. We go, yeah, but the quality is better and blah 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 and so on. It's a bit like iPhone. Like Androids are far superior, but everybody picks an iPhone because it makes them feel a certain way, and then afterwards they just justify it, try and explain why an iPhone's better than Android. It's not. I've got an iPhone, but I accept an Android's better. But it's just, yeah, we're going to reverse rationalize it, and yeah, I think that is a massive thing. Like I think everybody does it. It's just and I think most pursuits in life, like even maybe training, like I want to be in good shape so that other people are like, wow, when I walk into a room, like he's disciplined, he's in shape, and so on. It's like a different perception. And yeah, that's the only reason why we buy like a nice watch, because any watch can tell the time. But when someone's wearing like a AP on their wrist and you know it's worth like £30,000, you know that person's doing well. I think that's part of life. It's just kind of like there is status symbols, and there is kind of like a higher order or hierarchy. Yeah, and sometimes we want to kind of move up within that hierarchy. So yeah, I think it is part of life, and I think that is just a normal thing, that we are going to buy stuff because we want to feel good and fit in. I personally don't buy any like nice stuff. I personally buy my clothes extremely cheap, or most of them are gifted. I try and spend as little money as I can, and I put it all in investments. That's it, because I'd rather look poor and be rich rather than look rich and be poor. Because I see a lot of people, especially a lot of friends, go on holidays a lot, posting loads on social media, going out to really nice places and so on. And I remember like this was one of the first times is I went to a festival with a group of friends, and I bought one of my friends a ticket, with the idea that he was going to pay me back the next day, because like I don't know why. I think we had to buy like 4 tickets in one go, so I bought all 4 tickets, and my friends were going to pay me back. And there's one friend who's always going out to like really nice nightclubs in the West End, and he's always on like social media with a really nice car and like all of like doing all these fancy trips and so on. He's got this like persona that he's just like absolutely balling and living the dream. And then I messaged him about the money like a week later, and he ignored me. Maybe like a couple months later, I messaged him again, ignored me again. And then maybe like a year later, he messaged me and he's like, oh, I've got your money for you. And I was like, to be honest, I didn't really care too much about the money, but why did you ignore me? And he's like, look, I just feel really bad. I don't want anybody to know that I'm actually broke. I'm like really
Oh
struggling
my
for money.
God,
And I was like, but
that's
you're always kind
crazy.
of going to these fancy places and stuff like that. It's like it's just for my brand on Instagram. I need to make it look like I'm doing it because I
Jesus.
work at like nightclubs and I need people to come to these fancy restaurants and so on. So I need to put on this persona. And I said to him, you know what? People would probably respect you more if you actually just were a bit more honest within your social media and just say, hey, look, I'm struggling a little bit for money right now. But at the same time, it comes to that status symbol thing. Maybe he's figured it out. Maybe it's like, oh, if I pretend that I'm making loads of money and I'm doing all these things, maybe I attract more people and business grows more. But I think there's a massive facade of stuff. And I think social media massively pushes that up.
Well, I just think in that context, right? And I'm sure it's not just your friend. I'm sure there's a lot of people playing this game, putting on a facade, living a double life, right? Sort of like Spider-Man. Uh, Makes me ponder whether, like, surely these guys, if their business is going well and they have all this fame and stuff, surely there's a lack of fulfillment from within because they're not acting in alignment with who they are. If that makes
in,
sense.
in terms of what are they acting in alignment with.
Because he knows every day that he's doing things that he can't afford. He's spending money that he doesn't have,
Yeah.
right? So that he's doing that just so that he can gain the attention of the people he wants to do business from. But it's almost like
Acting.
like an act, right? It's like running on a hamster wheel, essentially. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but one day it might just come and like bite him in the back, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Also, if he didn't maybe put on a persona so much, and maybe he'd actually be able to save some money.
Okay, bro. So we've had so many conversations before of which haven't been recorded, and sometimes via text as well. So I've starred all the messages from every time we have a good conversation. So I've written some of the things that we've spoken about, and I want to touch on them. So one thing was talking about starting your own business. When I came to you asking about whether I should start online coaching, and you're
Yeah.
giving me some advice, but at the end you said I should really sit down and think if this is what I want to do. It's a lot of work and I won't be making lots of money for a while. I have to be passionate to pull me through those hard times. Don't
Yeah.
bother if you aren't serious. This side hustle is not worth it. Having built your own business, right? Talk me through the reality of, building your own thing.
Yeah. So like, I think everybody has this perception that if people start online coaching, they're just going to make tons of money straight away. Like I did. I thought that, oh yeah, I'm just going to go into this and make loads and loads of money. And like, I just set myself up a bit for disappointment because I had these super high expectations, which are a bit unrealistic. Like if you go to like a corporate world and you're like, okay, I want to be making £10,000 a month within 6 months of like starting a job in a corporate world, they look at you like you're an idiot. Like you've got to work your way up the ranks. And I think that's true for any business. Most businesses will not be profitable in the first year, maybe sometimes 2 years. And you have to kind of like build a reputation, build a brand. Nowadays with social media, you have to post content and it's going to be a lot of work. Your content's going to be rubbish at first. Your content will slowly get better over time. Your service is probably going to be rubbish at first. You're not going to know how to train people, coach people, serve people, whatever it is. And all of these things take practice. And if you think if you're getting into whatever industry you're doing because it's money only, and if that money doesn't come immediately, you're going to feel in like a really bad place. Whereas for me, like I think the one thing that I've got is I really love fitness. And if like let's say, for example, if someone just paid all my bills and looked after my family, then I would do it for free every day. I would work 6-7 days a week completely for free. I just love helping people. And I think because of that, I can weather those times where things aren't going as well as you hope they would. Whereas most people, if you hate the job and you hate this kind of hustle and you're just doing it for the money and the money's not there, you're going to give up. But if you could stick in the game for another 3 months, another 6 months, another year, then maybe that's when your money comes. Maybe that's when all the clients start flooding in. But I think if you're starting a business for the wrong reasons, you're probably not going to stick it to the end. If you're lucky, maybe if you were in coaching and you were just in an insane shape and you already had like a lot of friends that follow you, and then you said, hey, I'm like taking on clients, there could be a potential you pick up 10, 20, even 30 clients straight off the bat within a couple of weeks. But that isn't reality for most people. So I would say if you want to get into coaching or whatever, just make sure there's a deep passion because you need to be in it for a long time. Just like any business, it slowly just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And that's basically what's happened with mine. There's no been massive upward trajectory. It's just been like that the whole time. And yeah, there's a little bit of waves along the way. And just the longer I stay in it, the more clients I get, the better results I get, the more money I make. That's it. And I just think we have this perception that, oh, I'm just going to go into online coaching to make loads of money. And that's more a dream that's being sold by like business mentors and other people and so on. Like, it might happen for you, but just know that if it does happen, you're part of the 2% or the 1% that it does happen to. And everybody else is just going to have to work hard for a long period of time.
I think there was this reel that I came across. So it's this guy who does he helps people build their personal brand. So he's a
Okay.
personal branding coach, and I'm gonna read this out, right? So he said, anytime you start something new, you're going to be bad at it. You have to accept that. If you learn to play the piano, for example, you're going to struggle to find the keys. People have a fear of putting themselves on a platform, as they are essentially putting an imperfect version of themselves out there in the world to judge. Social media is an environment susceptible to a lot of negativity. You have to accept when you start something new and step onto the platform and start posting content. One, you're going to look ridiculous because you haven't achieved the thing that you want to achieve yet. It's almost faking it till you make it, right? Like, yeah, you have this level of experience, you've been training for this number of years, but your first client is your first client. At that point, you don't have any transformations aside from your own. And a good student doesn't necessarily make a good teacher. Secondly, is you're not going to be good at it because you haven't done it before. And you can accept these two things and focus on the input and getting better. That's ultimately when you'll be able to achieve the things you set out to achieve. That's when the praise, success, admiration comes from the people who are watching your stuff and the people who work with you.
So there's a few points there that I would say that I had to
Yeah.
kind of go with, and I've got kind of a story to tell you
Tell me.
around this.
Tell
So
me.
first of all, like social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, is amazing because if your content is shit, no one sees it.
Yeah.
So if you post something that's really rubbish, in the beginning you're going to be rubbish, not many people are going to see it. It's like, because if it's boring, the algorithm doesn't pick it up, doesn't show it to anyone. So actually your bad content doesn't really go anywhere. So you might make this bad piece of content you feel really awkward about, but if you look at the views, you've got 100 views, no one's really seen it. It's only like if you're unlucky enough to like make something where everybody in the comment section starts bullying you and people go into the comment section, your video's gone viral for no particular reason apart from the comment section, everyone's bullying you, then maybe that, but that's really, really rare, I would say. Just, yeah, your rubbish content is not going to be seen. And anything in life that you do, just accept you're going to be rubbish in the beginning. Why are you going to be good at something you haven't done? If you've never made content before, why should you be good at it? Like if I haven't spoken German before and I go and start doing German classes, why should I have this expectation I can speak German? Like we wouldn't do it with a language. Like when I started doing jiu-jitsu as like a skill, I just accepted that I'm just going to go get beaten up for ages. And I just embraced failure. As soon as you embrace failure, you'll do so much better. Like I remember, so this leads on to the story. So I remember like my first few pieces of content I was making where when I first started Instagram, I was like super nervous. I didn't like being in front of the camera. I'm always like quite self-critical, overthinking about stuff in my head and so on. So kind of like you can tell on camera that I'm not really feeling it. I'm not energetic, haven't got the kind of connection that I should have. And I remember like putting a lot of effort into making this one kind of post and or like a video, and then I sent it to my best friend. And my best friend turned around and said, "That's rubbish. Don't post it." And it really, really hurt me. And I said, "No, I need to post it." And he's like, "No, you can do so." Like, and I get where he was coming from. His kind of mindset was like, "No, I know how good you are as a trainer. Like, I know what the potential of your brand is. Like, this isn't you. You're so much better than this." But I said, "No, like, don't ever tell me, like, put me down or give me like negative criticism."
You told him that.
Yeah, I was like, "Look, don't ever." Like,
Oh
I was
wow.
like, literally, I'm trying to create content. I'm really struggling right now. And I need people to support me through this process. I'm already finding it hard enough. I don't need people to put me down. My first content is going to be rubbish. And I need to post it. And then I need to get a little bit better. And then I need to post another rubbish one and make it a little bit better. And then post another rubbish one, make it a little bit better. And each time just got a little better, a little better. I got a little more confident, learned how to edit a bit better. And I just kept posting rubbish content after rubbish content, but with the intention of trying to make it better, not just posting rubbish content for the sake of rubbish content. And over time, it got better and better. And then when I started speaking to the camera, my friend was like, "Yes, this is what I expected from you. Now you're killing it." And I was like, "Yes, but I wouldn't have got to this position unless I posted the rubbish stuff." It's like me going to like a fight jiu-jitsu and expect to beat everybody up straight away. It's like, no, I'm going to have to get my ass kicked to learn how to do the things so eventually I can be good. It's like him standing on the sideline, like when I'm learning something, going, no, that is not good enough. I was like, cool, I get where you're coming from. I understand, but this isn't the support that someone needs. So if you are starting content, just understand you're going to be rubbish. It's going to be hard. It's going to feel awkward. But if you push through that, that's what's going to separate you from most people, because most people don't want to do the hard, awkward thing that they're not good at. Most people would rather just stick to the stuff that they feel more safe in. Maybe I'll just write text in the caption with a picture because that's easier than talking to video. But the people that talk to video will stand out when they start to get good.
Bro, I've just got this quote that's come to my mind. I've just come up with this. It goes, failure strengthens you, but success reinforces self-confidence.
100%. I literally was having
Right?
this conversation with one of my clients literally yesterday when I was training him.
Don't you think, like, the first part, failure strengthens you? I wouldn't say failure gives you confidence. Maybe,
No.
if you fail better the next time, you'd be like, okay, but it's hard. As humans, we are our biggest critiques. It's easy to be like, oh, I still failed, right? The outcome is the same. But without realizing, like you said, there is this invisible compounding effect that's happening behind the scenes. Like each time you're getting better, you're learning something. Every time you get failure, there's feedback. Feedback is knowledge. Knowledge is power. You get better.
100%.
But then success is also important because it reinforces self-confidence. And let's say, imagine you're, like you said, rubbish content, and then boom, one's good, and then your friend said, hey, Nando, this is good, this is what you're capable of. But imagine if you posted for 5 years, 10 years, and everything was a failure. You get what I mean? Or let's say you enter the jiu-jitsu competition.
Yeah, but I would say with that, if that scenario does happen, you're not learning from your failures. Like every time you fail, like failure is amazing. Like I remember my first jiu-jitsu competition I went to and I won it. And I left like really annoyed and angry because I came there to lose. Because I was like, I need to
Wow.
learn how to get better. And all it did was just stroke my ego and make me feel good and made my training lazy. I just felt, yeah, I'm strong. I'm good at this now. Like, and why I knew like deep down, if I lost, I would go back to the gym the next day so angry and so annoyed and be like, I need to work on this. I need to do this. I need to do this. So every time you fail, it's going to give you a lesson. Take that lesson and do better with it. And then when you fail, take that lesson and do better with it. And just keep doing that over and over again. And eventually you will hit that point if you've adjusted enough times. You're going to get good. And then yes, like what you're saying is like you need to get into like a winner effect, which is basically when you win at something, you're going to maybe release dopamine, you're going to feel better about yourself, the story in your head changes, you're going to be like, see, I can do this, I'm getting better, and so on. And then the next thing's more likely to do better, and if that does better, then the next thing's more likely to do better, and then we start moving in an upward spiral. So I get what you're saying. So like a lot of failures compounding over time can bring you in a downward spiral. And if you were posting content every day for 5 years and every piece of content just kept doing worse and worse and worse and worse, and just being like again 1,000 kicks, I can understand that you'd want to give up. But I would argue that that's probably not going to happen because each time you're going to learn, and then you need to like look at maybe I only got 3 likes on the last one, but I got 4 on this one. See that as a win. So you have to kind of like purposely look for the wins. The wins might not be what you think. You might be like, oh, I want this video to go viral and get 1 million views or 1 million likes or whatever, when really last time you got 10 and this time you got 12. That's a win. And then when you fail, like when a piece of content doesn't do as well as you want, okay, you got 8. Go and look at your piece of content, then go look at someone else's piece of content that's done well, and just go, why is their content better than mine? Write down a couple points. Are they using a better camera? Are they talking better? Do they have a better hook? Is there like maybe they're in better shape than you? Or it could be something. Just kind of identify something and then try and work on it and make your next piece of content a little bit better. If you did that every single time, your content is, or whatever you're doing in life, is going to become amazing. Yeah, just keep getting 1% better each time. Do it thousands of times. And when you eventually hit that winner cycle or that winner effect, you deserve it because you've done 1,000 bloody things. Whereas what happens to some people is they post a piece of content and they get lucky, like real early, and they get loads of success early on. And now it's quite fragile because now if they don't get a piece of content, they've got a bit of imposter syndrome. Whereas if you've done 1,000 things and learned 1,000 different things, like by that point, you're just going to know your content is amazing because you're like, I've got 1,000 elements here I've worked on in this. Whereas before you just turned on the camera and you posted something and it went viral somehow. Like, I think you haven't really got a system. That's just luck. So I think the failure develops the system, develops the learning, and everything. And I think failure is like amazing. I would actually encourage people. One of the greatest things I've done in life is actively seek failure.
The
So when I was
rejection
younger,
therapy.
yeah, rejection therapy, but like
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, I had like a very massive issue with like asking females out and so on, and I'd be super nervous. And all my friends used to make fun of me, and actually some of them really nice and like guided me and helped me a lot with it. But one of the best things I did was actively look to get rejected 10 times in the start of the night. So I used to like going out and dancing and have a couple of drinks, but I was like, look, you can't dance, you can't drink until you get rejected 10 times. So I just walk up straight to a girl, extremely polite. Hey, how are you doing? Any chance I can get your phone number? Something like that. Like 9 times out of 10, she's going to go, no, of course not. I've just met you. Like, why am I going to give you your phone number? Who are you? But it got me like really good to rejection. And eventually, like I was just, because I was looking for the failure, when she rejected me, it was a win. So I was like, cool, that's one done, 9 to go. Like that. And then sometimes it was almost like girls giving me a phone number. I'm like, oh, bloody hell, come on. And now I've got to go speak to someone else. I wanted to get rejected. And you just come with this completely different mindset. Whereas a lot of the time, like in life, we're like too caught up in the outcome that like if the girl says no, if things don't go well, it breaks us. But if you actively look to lose, it becomes fun. Like when I started doing jiu-jitsu, I like had this weird mantra in my head that I wanted to get submitted 1,000 times. I didn't want to beat anyone. I wanted to lose 1,000 times. So I actively seeked all the strongest people, the highest grade people, and I just kept rolling with them. I remember my friend was like training for 10 years and I was rubbish at the beginning. And I said, look, can I train with you afterwards? And we would spar for an hour and he would like submit me like 50 times in a session. I'm like, yes, okay, that's 50 done. And I just kept getting submitted and submitted. Every time I got submitted, I learned what was happening. I was like, oh, okay, he's going to cross this way. Okay, now he's going to try and grab my neck. When he grabs my neck, I've got to try and get my hand in before, like that. And I just started learning all of these things. And then that's when, like, he told me, hey, you need to come to this jiu-jitsu competition. Like, you have to come. I'm going to one on the weekend. And I was like, no, I can't. I've only been training a few months now. But I'd done all of this extra training with the intention to lose. And I'd lost so many times that when I went to like competition, I was still a white belt. And like it was like playing with children. I was just like everything that they were going to do, I kind of knew because I'd already been smashed in 1,000 times already. So I think like failure or actively looking for failure is one of the best things that you can do in life. And it
Bro,
will
I
make
love
the
that. I
process
fucking
so
love
much
that.
easier.
I think you've told me this before, but now you've reminded me of it. Reframe your failures as wins.
Yeah. Like, yeah. If
I
you
love that,
actively,
bro.
you
Like
have to
that
actually,
just
you have to
changes
do
the
it
game,
before you
bro.
start. You
Yeah.
can't like go like try something and then when you fail, go, yes. Like that's not, it's more like,
Yeah.
it's more the act of like, you either have to put the act of trying as a win. So for example, for me with my content, when I first started, I have a folder of content that's reusable that I can put up anytime. And my goal with content is I want to get in that folder 1,000 pieces of content. At the moment, I have like 690, and I've still got like 300 more I want to get. So my goal isn't to go viral. My goal isn't to like, I don't know, like I don't really care about the metrics too much. I just post. I just want to make a really good piece of content, make it better than last time, and get 1,000 pieces in my folder. And then once I've got 1,000 pieces in my folder, then maybe I'll start looking at the metrics. But I'm just kind of like, yeah, every time I put a new piece of content and I've finished editing into the folder, I'm like, yes, well done. As opposed to like looking back at the feedback from social media too much and going, oh, that one went viral or that one did really well. So my kind of like, my self-esteem is based on effort rather than outcome.
You mentioned that first half of this year was a really tough time for you. You were burnt out. You were overworking yourself,
Yeah.
right? Am I getting a time frame right? First half of the year,
Yeah.
and then we had a call, and you spoke to me about this. And one of the lessons that you learned from this phase was happiness is a necessity of success, not a luxury. It is your engine to keep going. Talk me through that.
Yeah. So basically, like, so my wife got pregnant, then got made redundant. So not because of the pregnancy, it's just unfortunate. And I said, look, don't worry, just you chill at home, look after yourself, and when the baby comes, you can look after the baby, and I'll take the financial pressure. So I just started like working like crazy, and I just thought, okay, like it's now your time to provide and step up a level. If you really want to like achieve these dreams that you've always had, now is kind of your opportunity. Like your missus is now looking after the baby more so that you can chase the dreams, because otherwise she's going to have to go back to work at some point to provide for us, and then that means I can't follow my dreams as much. So if you really want to achieve this, now is your time. So I think I went a bit too extreme, and I was like, okay, cool, let's just go all in. And I would wake up every day at like 5 a.m. I would reflect. I would write my to-do list for the day. I would meditate. I would just do like a few positive things to kind of give me a bit of like energy. And then from that point on until about 9 p.m., it was just work. Like every minute of every day was productive. I wasn't on social media browsing. I wasn't watching TV. I wasn't playing games. I was just working like every moment I could. And I did really well. I probably like doubled my business within like 7 months or something. So I did extremely well. But I got to the point
How
where
many? So double from what? How many clients do you have at the start, and how many do you double to?
I think 35 to 70
Oh my
within
god,
like
that's
7
crazy.
months. And that's just my online clients, not my in-person clients. My in-person
my
business,
god.
I don't include that. For me, that's just kind of fun, so to speak. But yeah, I get paid good money for that as well. But in-person stuff, I don't really, when I talk about
Are you
business, I'm only
saying?
talking about online. That's like,
Are you saying
yeah,
your online clients are not fun? I'm kidding.
yeah, no, it's,
I'm kidding, bro.
no, it's just like when I'm training someone in person, it's like I'm just chilling with a friend. I'm just getting paid to like stand and have
Yeah.
conversations and put people through things that I love. So it's just slightly different. I did extremely well. I even had like a business mentor who would tell me what to do. And like when I would meet him each week, like by the time he'd come back, he'd give me like a load of work. I do every single thing, and I'll be like, okay, I've done these 5 other things as well, and I've studied these books, and I've done this. And he was like, you're just a working machine. And like I was doing that on top of training like 30, 40 hours of like in-person clients, growing my business on the side. And it's just like, yeah, I was just smashing it, but I was neglecting happiness, so to speak. I just thought like it was like, I was like, look, you can just go a few years without having a holiday, without going to the cinema, without kind of playing games. You don't need that stuff. Like, just this is your time to work. And I just kept working and working. Yeah, I just got to a point where I felt really, really down and really run down. And I started having panic attacks, and then my business started to really suffer. Like I couldn't respond to my clients on time. I wouldn't take on new clients because I was too overwhelmed. Like,
And this happened progressively.
yeah, it just kind of like, no, I actually feel like I remember having a conversation with my business coach, and I just had this like really deep, weird feeling. I was like, I feel like we've done so amazing, but I feel like it's all going to come crashing down. So
Oh
like
my
some
god.
of me was thinking maybe this is like a pattern of self-sabotage, which I've been kind of looking into as well. But yeah, like after that point, I just noticed my energy was just like really low, and then like, yeah, just my mental health was just not in a good place. I just was feeling like exhausted, tired. I couldn't like work at all. I stopped making content completely, which for me, I was in a really good place of making content. I enjoy making content, and like I just want to keep adding videos to my folder. I stopped doing that for several months. I struggled with my own training. I could barely lift, barely progress. Um, yeah, like everything, like just kind of like slowly fell apart for me. And I came to the conclusion, like I can't remember what I was doing one day. I think one day I was just in such a bad place. I went for a walk and listened to a podcast, and I was like, oh, I feel slightly better. What's going on? Like I just like months of like darkness, and now I just feel a little bit better. And then like another day I played like a video game, and I was like, oh, like the pain in my chest is like going away. Like I feel like the dark clouds in my mind are like going away. Like, and I was like, oh, I've just been completely neglecting fun and like just like looking after myself. Like I was just so deep down going like all in that I just like neglected how I was feeling and actually seeing myself as a person. And I was treating myself more like a productive robot. I was like, that's it. You're just gonna eat, sleep, and work, and that's it. And then like I just forgot like maybe the human element of like maybe spending more time going to see my friends. Like even my best friend I didn't see for like 6 months, and he's like, "Are you ignoring me?" And I was like, "No, I'm just busy. Sorry," which is like really crap. Like there's obviously like a super rubbish friend, um, like on my side of things, and I should never have done that. It's just the same as when someone like stops talking to their friends because they're in a relationship now, which is I guess my work with my relationship.
The other thing you said during this call that we had previously was you have to find the right level of productivity that gets you to your goal the quickest without burning you out.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it's like, just think of it like running. If I go for a walk, I can walk forever. So if I was going to walk to, let's say, from London to Malaysia, if I walk it, it would take me a bloody long time. And I don't have the option to get a plane because that's obviously the best option. But if I sprinted it or ran really, really fast, I'd initially get there faster. But the person walking would beat me because the person sprinting is going to run out of breath and you have to get your breath. And there's only so many sprints you can do before you're just going to knacker yourself out. But then there's an in between of the two, which is basically jog it and just find your pace with jogging. Like, what's the fastest that I can go, but still maintain my breath and sustain this for a very long period of time? And I think
Like
that's
cruise
kind of
control.
like, that's kind of the secret to kind of finding your level of productivity to fulfillment or enjoyment. Like, I would say for me, it's probably like 85% of the time hyper productive, 15% of the time reward myself with anything that I want to do, whether that's play my Xbox, watch some Netflix, go for a walk, listen to a podcast, call up a friend, just doing anything that's non-productive. And I think that's the balance that I can now maintain. I think trying to push that to 100, you might initially get a lot faster and see some really good results, but it's going to come with you losing your breath and burning out, same as sprinting.
No sustainable.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so a lot of people say that when you start a business or even as an employee, you need to find your unfair advantage because that's what sort of justifies maybe a pay raise or in the business world whether you can charge a premium or not. But you told me this, and I definitely believe it's true. I think one of your biggest unfair advantages is your why,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Because when that is solidified, everything else falls into place. So for right now, for where you are in life right now, Nando, what
Yeah.
is your why?
So I have, for me, it's always family. So
Mm,
I have the immediate family, like my wife, my daughter. I want to
mm,
provide for them, make sure my daughter gets the best education, make sure that she doesn't have to grow up in like a rough area of London, so on. Like, I
mm,
just want her to have like a little bit better upbringing than I did.
mm,
Make sure, don't want to spoil her, I want to teach her lots of life lessons. But I would say my family, my immediate family is my initial why. And then my
mm,
greater why is to be able to become so successful that I have the opportunity to then help my like extended family break that cycle of like generational trauma. So for
mm.
me, those are my whys, and my how is through fitness.
I think sometimes as men, we tend to overestimate what is required of us in order to make our family happy. I remember listening to this podcast, I think Chris Williamson and Ben Shapiro, and he said he had just won like a huge award, and he went back home and he was telling his wife about it, and I think she didn't even respond to it, like she just brushed it off, and she's like, oh, by the way, someone needs to take the trash out, right? It's I think it's funny that sometimes what like you said, you want to send your daughter to a good school, you want to take care of your wife, give them the best life, the life that they deserve, but for all we know, like yeah, all those things should be great, but it's probably just a bonus to what you already provide. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
both is already chosen, you've both chosen to to commit to each other, right?
Yeah.
That's what marriage is for, right? Like you're sort of committing to each other. What do you think about that?
I honestly think my wife would be happier if I just worked less and I just spent more time with her.
Mm,
That's it. Like,
mm,
she'd much rather that we didn't like live in a really nice place and didn't like. I have a dream of like moving my family to Dubai within the next year,
mm,
and like she would just be happy if I was just at home more and just chilled, just spent more time with her. I know that. Like, she's just so accepting of me as well that like all she really wants is just to feel loved and spend some time with her. Like, her happiest moment of
mm,
her day, I can see it, is when I'm playing with my daughter next to her. So I take some
mm,
time off work and I just chill and play with my daughter. So there's no kind of like pressure from her. Like, I know
mm,
that actually all I need to do is just spend quality time with her and she'll be happy. And like, we have this assumption that I need to achieve all of these things, but really all of those things are for me to kind of like
mm,
maybe prove myself to myself, maybe like, because I want to make sure that my daughter gets a really good education so she has a great life and so
mm,
on. So it's not
mm,
like, I know that we could just easily be happy in the moment as well. And I need to make sure that I provide that time so we can just be happy in the moment. But also I like to think a lot about the future. So for me, my reason why I'm working so hard is because I want to make sure that she has the best opportunity. So when she gets to my age, she doesn't struggle to fit in with certain people. She doesn't struggle with confidence issues and so on, blah, blah, blah. So I'm thinking like years and years ahead. I'm not just thinking, like, I know I can be happy in the moment. And I think you definitely have to find that balance of just, yeah, take out the trash, smile, give her a kiss, just spend some quality time. But then also, cool, let's sit down, let's think about what I want to achieve in the next 10 years, and let's start writing a plan and taking action to move towards that. So I think there's just a balance between those two. Because I think if you just only spend quality time and she absolutely loves me, but then we can't pay the bills and we end up becoming homeless, like I'm sure she might not love me as much then. I'm sure she probably would still stick with me, or I hope, but it would not be great in that situation. So it's just a balance of like spending quality time, but also working on your future.
I definitely admire the level of care you have for the people who matter the most to you, and I'm sure Bo, your daughter, and your clients as well, me myself, very grateful to have you in our lives. Yeah, but I'm not sure when was the last time you spoke to Bo or had a chat along these lines, but I actually reached out to her,
Go for it.
and so she's written you a message. So I read it out now. So, dear Nando, I wanted to write this because sometimes the things we feel the deepest are the ones we say the least. I'm so proud of you, truly. Watching your journey, the growth, the rebuilding, the mistakes you turned into lessons, the risk you turned into opportunities. It's been powerful to witness. But what moves me the most is the man, husband, and father you've become. The way you love our daughter, the way you protect her, guide her, and light up a little world. It melts me every single day. You give her a version of safety and love that she will carry for the rest of her life. Seeing you with her shows me a side of you that's pure, patient, and full of heart. She adores you, and I don't think you realize how much of a joy comes from the kind of father you are. Your mindset, your drive, your commitment to growing, not just for yourself, but for us. It inspires me more than you know. You're building something real, something meaningful, and you're doing it with so much love behind every step. I hope you're proud of yourself because you should be. And I can't wait to see where this journey takes you and us next. We're right here with you, cheering for you, loving you, and believing in you always. With all my love, Paul.
Made me cry. Trying to hold it together.
You're,
But
you're gonna make me cry, man.
yeah, very beautiful. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
like I feel extremely blessed.
Mm.
Like I'm very happy. Just to have like a functioning family or a functional family. I'm very blessed, especially where I've come from. But to have like, I feel like I've hit the jackpot with my family. So
Mm.
I feel like I'm extremely supported, and she gives me like a massive opportunity to be able to follow my dreams. Because it's like, if she wasn't so like accepting of me, because I can be weird. Like sometimes I'm like, if I'm doing some kind of challenge, there's going to be like, I'm so stubborn. Like it'll be 11 p.m. at night, and I'm like, I've got
Yeah.
5,000 steps to do. I'm going outside, and I'll walk until I get them done. Like, whose partner is going to let them like just like randomly start walking outside,
Mm.
or like I'll just be like, yeah, I'm just going to record content for the next 5 hours. Sorry, or something like that. She's like super self-accepting of me, and I need to remember to make sure that I make that time to create those moments of like being around my family and not just providing for them.
Okay. Nando, we have a closing tradition of this podcast where the last guest leaves a question for the next guest, not knowing who they'll be leaving it for. So the question from the last guest is, what's one lesson you have learned from your biggest competitor that you've applied in your own life or business?
First of all, I don't know who my biggest competitor is.
Or any competitor within the fitness space.
So like this is probably like a lesson that I've kind of been working on, and I'm still am working on. Like I think within fitness, the way that you look and the way that you act as a role model is way more important than the amount of knowledge that you have, and everything else doesn't really matter. People will judge you a lot by the way that you look in terms of like picking a fitness coach. Like if someone spent 10 years and they've got a PhD and a master's and so on, and they've got loads of coaching background, but they're fat, doesn't mean anything. And like unfortunately, it took me a long time to kind of wrap my head around that is how kind of superficial that we are. And I
Mm.
see that people that are doing extremely well are the ones who are just like in really good shape, because it kind of like goes, well, if they can get themselves in good shape, obviously they can get me in good shape. And you wouldn't kind
Mm.
of like, you just think, well, they know what they're talking about. They're like,
Mm.
it's that simple. And I think for me, like over the last year, 2 years, I would say, it's probably been more like, okay, forget studying as much, forget learning as much, just become in amazing shape so you inspire people to work with you, and everything else will sort itself out. So sometimes you just have to
Mm.
be a leader, or like, yeah, really lead from the front and be a role model and being inspiring, rather than trying to like educate people. I could give you 10 reasons why you should squat and how to squat, or I could just stand there with my top off and just be like, yep, come work with me. So obviously I'm not going to
Mm.
go that superficial, but for me,
Yeah,
that's one of
yeah,
the biggest lessons I've learned. That is that a lot of coaches are doing extremely well, not just because
yeah.
of the knowledge or results, but for the way
Mm.
that they look. And I have to play that game a bit more. So the last couple
Mm.
of years, I've just made this massive dedication to going, okay, if I really want to grow my business, there's an element I need to accept, and I need to start looking better than most other trainers. So it's just been like
Mm.
super high levels of discipline around nutrition, cardio, constantly training, never missing sessions, and so on, always pushing myself so I can kind of get elite level of shape, so then I can grow my business even more. So that's part of the game as well if you want to be an online coach.
Mm.
Yeah, I hope that answered that.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
Um,
Anyways, thank you. Were you gonna say something?
do I need to ask someone else a question, or do I tell you later?
I know you tell me
Okay,
later.
okay, cool.
So,
All right.
Nando, this is the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed our conversation. You know, I've told you this time and time again before. I don't just see you as my coach, right? A lot of times I say, like, yeah, I have a coach, but I definitely do see you more as a friend, right? That there are points where I'm texting you almost every other day, or most of the time it's because you're giving me shit for not following what you've asked me to do. But a lot of times, like, man, I don't just come to you for fitness. You know, you give me a lot more value than I guess I pay for, or I could ask for, right? As a from a coach. So I definitely appreciate you for that, and you have definitely been an inspiration to me, and I'm sure to many others. If those people are listening and others want to find out more about you, where would be the best place for them to keep up what you do? Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram mainly. That's where I put like most active. I'm trying to get
Okay.
on YouTube a bit more, but it's
Right.
just like quite hard because I've got so much other work to do. So eventually YouTube, it will be StenningFitness as well. I've got 4 videos there
Okay.
so far, making my 5th one. But at Instagram, I try and post every single day, like at least
Okay.
6
And
days a week.
what's your Instagram
StenningFitness.
ad again? Stunning Fitness. Okay,
StenningFitness.
I'll edit down the show notes anyways. But yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much, Nando. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you very much, Arvin.
I'll
See you later.
see you in the next check-in, man.
Thank you. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you.